I love it. It's a very odd and unusual story called The Yellow Face, which I really like. I don't know. I like. I'm very fond of the quieter, smaller ones. There's a beautiful story called The Case of Identity, which is the second or third of the short stories, I think. And I've used little bits of that in a couple of episodes because it's just that bit about someone oscillating on the pavement always means a love affair. That's from that. It's a very simple story about a woman whose stepfather wants her to remain unmarried so he can keep the money. She's so short-sighted she can't tell us her fiance is in. It's quite difficult to do on the screen. And I used a little bit of it in The Empty Hearse, this Sutherland book. That's one of my favourites. The Blue Carbuncle, I love, the Christmas story. Well, most of them. But the Bruce Parsons plans is always, I love that. It's fantastic. It's got submarine plans, it's got the tube, I love the London Underground. It's got a brilliant mystery. A man found dead on the lines, and Sherlock works out that he was actually on top of the train. It's fantastic. My prop's in it. It's great.
Next question is from Isabella Sabatini. Anyway, what was it like to play John Dashwood as a and Jane Austen on the
well, it was lovely doing Sense and Sensibility. I've never seen Sense and Sensibility. Has it been on here?
I think on DVD.
I have a lovely ginger week. Ginger sun. It was great. I had a very lavish and beautiful BBC drama. Wonderful. I had a great time. The Doctor meets Jane Austen. Well, the Doctor's done a lot of writing, actually. It's interesting. One of the things which the new series of Doctor Who sort of invented is the idea of a celebrity historical. So, Charles Dickens, Agatha Christie, Winston Churchill, Shakespeare. There's three writers there. So I think Jane Austen stands quite a good chance. I'm not quite sure what the adventure would be. Maybe an alien posing as Mr. Darcy. He died in the pond and his real skin.
Next question is from Clarice Meirelles. I have been a fan of you and your work since League of Gentlemen. I admire you as a producer, actor, and writer. My question is, how
Not as a human being.
My question is, how does it feel to write and act on a show so popular as show? And can you tell us some tips for the young writers present here? Yeah, is that it? Thanks. There's a thanks.
No, it's fantastic, of course it is. It's a privilege, to say, to be involved with a show like Doctor Who, which has always been my favourite show since I was a kid, and Sherlock Holmes, which I've always adored. To be so successful is a fantastic privilege and joy. So, I never stop pitching myself, really. And my advice to young writers is, get out of my way! I think the only advice I ever really give to people is to keep at it. It's very easy to get distracted because everyone has to earn a living. It's very easy to get downhearted because everyone gets rejected. I spent years and years and years and years before the League of Gentlemen really took off and opened doors to everything. So it's very easy to get downhearted. But if you believe in what you're doing and you put your heart and soul into it, I think it will get through eventually. Get out of my way. What? Hi?
This next question is from Marina. She's over there. Which author to adapt Conan Doyle or Agatha Christie, and why?
Well, I've done 3 Poirot episodes. I love Agatha Christie. But they were all quite late books. I never got the chance to do one of the really, really great ones. So I think, and therefore I had to change quite a lot because they were not as well constructed as some of the earlier ones. But I think the problem a lot of people sometimes do when they're adapting anything is for some reason is to jettison what the author intended. And as a writer, obviously, I have a great deal of respect for other writers, so I often find it quite odd. I remember in the first Agatha Christie I did, Catalogue of Pigeons, the brilliant idea about it is there are two murderers. And I remember the producer saying, I want to get rid of them. And I said, that's the best idea ever. So I think it's very important to respect the original author's intentions. When you're adapting something, obviously sometimes you have to be much more free with it. And with Conan Doyle, obviously we've, from the beginning, taken a very specific attitude towards the stories. We rarely adapt them as they are. They're sometimes the framework of the whole story, and sometimes it's a tiny part of it, and sometimes a larger part. So, but I think the important thing always is to respect what the author had in mind and intended, even if you end up going in a quite different direction. So you got Christie. Oh, there's a wonderful book called Crooked House. Do you know that? That's not Poirot or Miss Marple. It's a very clever book. I think probably the ABC Murders. Agatha Christie. I think a story about it. Billy Wilder, the great Austrian director who made The Private Life of Sherlock Holmes. He made an adaptation of Witness from the Prosecution in the 50s. And an interviewer said to him, why are you doing Agatha Christie? And he said, Agatha Christie's characters, the dialogue I could write it in an afternoon, but her plots are like fucking ball bearings. Agatha Christie has more great ideas than anyone who's ever written anything. She was amazing. She puts ideas in her short stories, which she could have made into incredible novels. She just had one after the other. Incredible. One moment. Yes.
Dr. Who had everything to go wrong. And sad was the time with the lockdown and so on. In your opinion, what in that situation was the thing that made Dr. Who get right?
Devin was asking, in Invention Space and Time, when everything went wrong, what went right to make Doctor Who what it is? I think it's partly that it's just a fantastic idea, but mostly it was the hard work of all those people at the original time, and there were many more than I could put in that story who were behind it. But I think in the end, what's wonderful about it is that it's a story that happens every now and then. It's a little show that could. No one really expected much of it, and then when it was a massive success, they were all very keen to take credit for it. But it's essentially just it's the same thing. It's passion, it's hard work, and it's the willingness to keep pushing on.
So, his next question is from Sara Maranhão.